Good morning. I know a lot of you are at school, but I figure you'll watch this later. So today I'm talking about label versus ingredient list. I think Carol kind of asked about that. So I have a whole bunch of things out here on my counter that you probably can't see, but I'm going to show them to you and talk about like what I look for. So I don't really look at the label. If I'm buying some type of like protein bar, like when I used to buy the Kind bars, I would look at the label because I would see the sugar content. So I guess I do look at it for that. But for the most part, I look at the ingredients because most of the stuff on the label is pretty meaningless. Like all those percentages they show you, from what I've researched, that's like based on like, percentage of vitamins that are in it. That's like based on a 2,000 calorie diet or something. So that's just like kind of meaningless to you. And they put those in bold as if they're important. So things that we're going to look for on the label are, you always want to look at the serving size. So my first example is the kombucha. We drink kombucha pretty much every day. And this is the brand I like. I like the GTS because when you read the ingredients, it's not a bunch of juices or fillers. It's very basic. Like this one is just the raw kombucha, fresh pressed ginger juice, and 100% pure love. So like that's it. It's really just 2 ingredients. But what I had not noticed was that the serving size is 8 fluid ounces. This is a 16.2 fluid ounce bottle. So when I had looked at the sugar and it said 2 grams of sugar, I thought, oh, that's like a good deal for this, because kombucha can be like, they can be higher in sugar depending what they're adding, if they're adding a bunch of different juices. I was looking at some of our other flavors. We have our favorite flavor is the gingerberry. So that has 6 grams of sugar. Remember that 4 grams of sugar equals a teaspoon of sugar. So you kind of, even with kombucha, even though this is great and it's probiotic and it's good for your gut health, you still need to watch, how much you're drinking. Now, my husband and I normally split a bottle, so that basically means that each of us will get 2 grams, but this whole bottle has 4 grams of sugar. So each of us will have 2 grams because we almost always split them. This one is one of my favorites. I usually drink this. He doesn't like this one. It looks like it would be really awful with all the green stuff in it, but it actually tastes pretty good. I really like it. This one has the raw kombucha. It has Klamath Valley blue-green algae, which is like super good for you. Spirulina, that's something else that's super good for you. And Chlorella, which is also super good for you, and then 100% pure love. So this is a really great one to get a lot of those powerful greens that are super dense nutrition, as we talked about yesterday, the super dense nutrition. And if I drink the whole bottle, which I actually don't usually do at one time, it would be 4 grams of sugar, but I usually drink half, so it's only 2. Things to know about kombucha: if you've never had it, when you try it, you don't drink the whole thing because it is probiotic. It's great for your gut health, but if you drink too much of it when you're not used to it, your stomach will just kind of feel a little bit off. For us, like, it didn't hurt. It just felt a little off, and I was like, okay, I've had enough of that. So I had to kind of build up to it. I started with just like a few sips of it, and then I built up to, I can actually drink the whole bottle, but I usually don't. Okay. So that's the first thing, is you need to look at your serving size, because a lot of times things that you're buying, the sugar, the fat, the protein, all of that is for 1 serving, not the whole container. So you need to check on that. If I'm buying something like this, I bought these thin stackers because I have that Darren O'Lean thing with all these recipes. And one of the snacks was one of these crackers, or 2 of these little thin crackers with some almond butter or nut butter or peanut butter, whatever. So, sometimes you just want something, and I love stuff like this with peanut butter on it. So when I read the ingredients, it just is organic brown rice, organic red rice, and organic quinoa. That's it. There's no chemical stuff. There's nothing I don't understand. So that's a big key with ingredients. is reading them and knowing what they are. So if you read them and you really have no clue what that is, your body has no clue either, and it just needs to go back on the shelf. I'm not even gonna look at the label. I don't really care about the label. That's all that's in these crackers. I'm either gonna eat one of them. I usually just eat one with some peanut butter and I'm good to go. They also have the rice cakes. And again, so this is Lundberg, and that's what these are too. And these have organic whole grain brown rice, organic wild rice, and sea salt. I actually don't care for them with the salt, so I need to find them without the salt. You know, normally I want stuff with salt, but I don't really care. And I don't really care about the calories, like how many calories they are. You know, one of these would count as a carb. So that's all I'm really concerned about. So I'm not even looking at that, because I don't know if I talked about that yesterday, but you know, people get all up in arms and talk about calories, like, oh, this is only 30 calories. Oh, this is only this calories. Calories are not equal. Like, just because this is 30 calories and that's 30 calories, those are not created equally. When you think of eating calories, again, you want to think of nutrient dense. Because I can have some 30 calorie, you know, graham crackers or something, and I can have 30 calories of something like really healthy. Those metabolize different in my body, and so it's different which one I'm eating. So you kind of want to think about that. So I'm not really looking at the calories, I'm just looking at the ingredients. Now, these chips, I am a chipaholic. So we had our neighbor over the other night for dinner, and I made zucchini squash with like Tex-Mex, the ground meat, and then we put a little bit of cheese and tomatoes and lettuce on top of it. We had guacamole, and so she brought some chips. And so these are sweet potato chips, so that's what I was going to talk about. You know, you buy a lot of stuff, and just because it says sweet potato, we think, oh, that's got to be healthier for me. And then it'll say stuff like made with white corn and sweet potatoes, and it'll have stuff on it. Like, I don't have anything, I was looking, but it'll say like all natural. It'll have all these things on the front that make you think, oh, that's got to be better for me. And then when you look at the ingredient list, it's so not better for you. So the first problem with this is I'm not even looking at the label, I'm just looking at the ingredients. And this is how I shop. The first thing I do is I look at the ingredients. So we have corn flour. Now, nowhere on here does it say it's organic or does it say it's non-GMO. So genetically modified stuff is not good for us. There's studies that show that it messes with our digestion. And corn and soy are like the two top genetically modified crops that we have. So corn flour, not good. Vegetable oil, which is made up of sunflower and or safflower and or corn oil. So sunflower oil, which I buy some things that have sunflower and safflower oil, but the stuff I've researched, those really aren't very good oils because they're highly processed. It's like how they're processed, that's what makes them good or bad. And those oils, they like highly process, and when they process them, they use these chemical solvents, and ugh, it's awful. Not to say I never buy anything that has those oils in it, but I kind of try not to. And I specifically do not buy things with corn oil or canola oil or vegetable oil. So I usually look at what kind of oil is in there. Then it says sweet potato flour, dehydrated sweet potatoes, and sugar. Then there's honey granules. So in parentheses it says sugar and honey. Sweet potatoes, which is like towards the very bottom of the list. Sea salt, annatto color, which I think the annatto color is like I don't think that's an artificial thing, coloring. I have to kind of look that one up. And then there's trace of wine. So first of all, there's stuff on here, I'm not really sure what it means, and then there's just like not good things. So I personally would not have bought these. She bought them and she wouldn't take them back, and so she left them, and so I've kept them so that I could use them as an example of something that I would not buy. I would buy sweet potato chips if the ingredients were sweet potatoes and like an oil, because I think I bought some before where it's just sweet potatoes, like olive oil or coconut oil or something like that, and then salt, like sea salt. But this stuff, like, I wouldn't buy this. So that's one option. Here is a salt I did buy. I mean, a potato chip I did buy, a corn chip. Now, normally I go to Target and I get their organic blue corn chips with flax seeds in them, and they only have them at Target, but my Target's not super convenient to where we live. So I got these. And this has organic blue corn, organic expeller pressed sunflower oil, which still not totally sure that's great for us, and sea salt. But you know, it's like probably the next best thing. The other thing I like about this is it has the non-GMO verified the non-GMO project. I usually get stuff that has that on it because I think there is actually an organization and they're trying to, you know, let us know when stuff is GMO'd or let us know that it's not GMO'd, put it that way. So I buy stuff like that. Also notice it's only like 3 ingredients. It's not a whole list of ingredients. Okay, another thing that we get, because sometimes you want a cracker, is these Mary's cracker, and they're basically seed crackers. I was reading today, I don't think I realized that they had organic soybeans in them, because I kind of don't buy stuff with soybeans, but it is at the very bottom of the list. So like when you read this, it's organic whole grain brown rice, organic whole grain quinoa, organic brown flaxseed, organic brown sesame seed, filtered water, sea salt, organic wheat-free tamari. So tamari is a soy sauce substitute. That's what I actually use instead of soy sauce because I'm pretty sure soy sauce has gluten in it and tamari is gluten-free. And then it has organic vinegar, salt, and that's it. So these are great. They go great with like goat cheese or any kind of spreads that you have. And they're cute little seed crackers. Another thing I got, because I'm always trying stuff, because I told you I'm a chipaholic, a crackeraholic, I love all that stuff, is I found these things at Costco. I thought they were little crackers, and they're actually these gigantic crackers. So that hasn't quite worked out for us so well. We haven't eaten that many of these. But again, I don't look at the label. I just go right to the ingredients. And again, it's like organic whole wheat flour, millet, flax seeds, sesame seeds, blah, blah, blah. And so I thought, well, I'll get them and try them. Now, this also does have agave in it. It has dry yeast. Don't really know about that. Safflower oil, which again, I really don't think that's all that great for us, but I decided to get them and try them. I actually might take these back. You know, Costco, you can open things, you can try them, and then you can take them back. Costco's awesome because we're not eating them, and they really don't have the best ingredients. Okay, I'm a chipaholic, so, and the reason I have these things that I'm showing you is because I don't have a lot of other stuff in my pantry that's like out of the bag. We'll go in there and look, but I don't have much. And other thing I tried was these, what are they called? Bean chips. They're these bean chips. They're from Costco. I am a chipaholic. They have beans, green split pea, yellow split pea, black bean, non-GMO yellow corn, sunflower oil, and sea salt. That's it. They're kind of salty. They're a little bit too salty, but they're just something fun and different. Again, I didn't look at the label. Don't really care what's in the label. That's not helping me out. I just looked at the ingredients. So I don't really have anything else in my pantry. So when we go in my pantry, I have these kale chips that I think I'm going to take back because I didn't really like them. But they had organic kale, sunflower seeds, tahini, a carrot. They did have cane sugar, apple cider vinegar. They only have 2 grams of sugar for 6 servings. 1 serving is 1 ounce, but I'm going to probably take those back. Yeah, I buy things, I try them, I take them back if I don't like them. Costco lets you do that. I don't really have anything else because I'm just looking. Like I have coconut vinegar. It just says it's organic coconut sap, naturally aged for 8 months to 1 year. So like I have vinegars, I have oils. I don't have a bunch of processed stuff. You know, I don't buy a bunch of stuff in packages. So you guys probably need to that's what I wanted to do on this video, give you an action to take. And your action is to show us something like in your pantry, in your cupboard, that you might have questions about. Because I don't really have anything. One thing that I have noticed, like I have belonged to Sam's before, and now we belong to Costco, but here's a thing like basil pesto. Again, I don't look at the label, I just look at the ingredients. But Sam's had, they had canola oil, I think, in their pesto, and this one has extra virgin olive oil, and the ingredients are just better. So it's all basically stuff I know what it is. And I don't have anything else really in my refrigerator either. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, so this is a good time to talk about that, is yogurts. If you're buying flavored yogurts or yogurt with fruit in it, you need to check the sugar. It'll probably have tons of sugar in it because they have anywhere, plain Greek yogurt has 9 grams of sugar, and that's just coming like from the milk. That's for 1 cup. But when you read the ingredients, it's just the live bacteria and then basically the milk, the milk culture and stuff. But that's what I wanted to talk about is yogurts. If you're buying the flavored, check your sugar, and you're better off just doing plain yogurt, adding a little bit of honey if you need it sweetened or maple syrup, and adding your own fruit. And you can prep that ahead of time. Get the big container, get your little containers, and measure out how much yogurt you need, your little red container, and then just add some fruit, add a little bit of honey, mix it all up, and boom, it's good to go for the week. So let me think. That's all the stuff I have. So the moral of this story is the label isn't quite as important as the ingredient list. If it's ingredients that you understand, then that can go in your cart. If there's a bunch of ingredients that you have no clue what they are, then it needs to go back on the shelf. And that's pretty much what I do, and that's what Pete does. He's learned to always read the ingredients. So a lot of times when we're roaming around Costco, I'll see him pick something up and he'll be reading through it. And a lot of times he'll just put it back because he knows, oh, it has this in it, it has that in it, we're not getting that. So for the comments today, go in your pantry, go in your refrigerator, and look and see, is there something that you're wondering about? Is there something that you're just now noticing? Like I noticed, like, oh, this whole bottle has more sugar in it than I thought it did. I didn't realize that. Or this has some bad ingredient that I really don't need to be eating. And let us know, and then we'll try to help you find a healthier option. Because a lot of times there are healthier options, like with the whole yogurt thing. I've had so many women tell me, I can't stand Greek yogurt, I can't eat it. Well, no, of course you can't because it doesn't taste that great. But if you doctor it up, you'll be surprised. And the reason you want to put honey in there or maple syrup is because we've kind of talked about this before, I think. But those are natural sugars. Number one, they have nutritional value, and you're probably not going to add as much as what they're adding in those yogurts, that have fruit on the bottom, or the yogurt that has fruit in it, or the already made flavored things, okay? So that's what you want to know about. Also, salad dressings. I think we've talked a little bit about that. Salad dressings, a lot of us are into the fat-free. We think, well, it's fat-free or sugar-free or whatever. Remember when things say sugar-free, that means there's a chemical sugar in there most likely. You've got to read the ingredients, because if it's sugar-free but it's sweet, they're sweetening it with something. What is it that they're using? And fat-free usually means that they're adding more sugar. So they might be taking out the fat, but then they're adding all this sugar that's not good for you. So look at the stuff in your house and see, what are you noticing that maybe you didn't realize, and let's help you find some better options, okay? So that's your homework, that's your call to action, and I will talk to you later.